Welcome to Trading Lounge and the Bitcoin report for Wednesday, September 8th. And, well, as you know, El Salvador created the Bitcoin as legal tender. So for some reason or other, that's rocked the market. One of the things that I want to first point out here is that our analyst for the altcoins, Kittyupon, who will recover these portfolios here, of course. It was good to see him nail down this top for Ethereum here in his count. So this is a 4-hour chart. Didn't quite make a new high here. It got pulled around with the Bitcoin market, but overall an excellent count from Kittyupon. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. So yeah. Also, just coming back to yesterday when we had a look at USDT.D, we'd been counting it down from this 20th top here, and we had it down as 1 and 2 here. And then I was looking down for wave 3. So if I go to the hourly chart just to tune in here somewhat, move that across there a little bit. So we were looking for it, just sort of interesting really, because I mean I need to go back over and check the count. I was looking at this as 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, you know, down here for 3, 4 and 5, and calling that the low in here. So we got this pullback here, but you know, I was looking at a wave 4 to come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree here. So unless I've made a mistake here, I'll need to go back over and check this, unless we've actually need to put wave 3 over here and wave 4 onto this one and call this wave 5 here. But anyway, as I mentioned the other day, you know, I want to start working this particular count as well, because it does the opposite of Bitcoin, so it gives us a good balance. So I'll go back and check this just to make sure that's, you know, correct. If there's any discrepancies in that. We'll also keep an eye on USDC as well, because that's going to become the dominant tether on the Ethereum platform. So when it comes to Bitcoin here, we can look at it obviously in a few ways. So but on the intraday, it's going to be pretty much the same. So we can look at it like this here with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 here, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this, and that wave 4 will need to. You can put it there, but it's better suited over here. But not that it matters. The other point here too, just we forget the 61.8% mark from the top to the bottom here was 51,100. So being at 53 here, it wasn't that far off, and also a couple of other things here. The 50 in terms of the trading levels, the 53,000 is the top of group 1, and we didn't get support on top of that. So just worth noting, because if you got support on top of that, we would have, you know, kept on climbing at that particular point. But it's pinned it back down into this pattern, and that pattern that we're looking at here is the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and then the ABC pattern here. So which is just the basic pattern that we always look at. So the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, and now we'll look for the ABC, even though it got sold off quite quickly. So the entry would be back over here on the 50. Of course, we can work this ABC down here as well, but this is the pattern. This is the most common pattern, and this is the pattern that I was expecting at this point. It just looked like yesterday 53 would climb high. The market would climb high and find support on the 53, but obviously it didn't, and it's pushed back down into this space. The other count here that I think is worth considering with this is that this low here on the 20th of July, roughly, that was the low of the USDT. Well, they had a top at that point. There was lots of cryptos that had lows at this point. So I think that, you know, if we're not working if we're not working, I mean, because this just doesn't make a nice wave one here in that particular point, you know. In some cases it does, and it doesn't. I just think that we can't wipe off the bear market yet. We also can't wipe off this wave four being more complicated as well. So it's something that we'll need to consider as such as well over here. So we could end up working some other larger wave 4 pattern that we won't go into today, because we just really want to focus on this little area here today. The other little count is taking this wave 4 here into consideration, and in that case here, this was a count that had been working on that is 1 and 2 here, and 3 here, and 4 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then going up for wave 5 here. It's quite interesting because yesterday I mentioned that I would normally count this as 1 and 2 and a third wave here, and a fourth wave here, and a fifth wave here, but wave 3 was going to be too short. But I've seen this thing before, and I think that it's just sort of worth pointing out that next time that you see it, you know, it's just basically sometimes the market just sticks around a whole number and stops it from moving a little bit. So yeah, because it counts from this low here as 5 waves to that point. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, so it's all squashed up in there. I've seen it before, and it's just sort of worth noting on that. So this particular point that we've got here now, be this whatever it may be here with this, is that I can, on the tick chart, I can count 5 waves down to this point. So now we'll look for wave B, which is basically back at the 50,000, well, a little bit lower than that, but you know, markets like to stick to these large numbers as sticky numbers, so just roughly there. So you can see that it's, in one way or another, it's just a little bit low below that 50,000. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I can count that down as 5 waves, so we've got to work wave B back up, and then we've got wave C to the downside. Obviously there's lots of buyers coming in here. There's a gap on the futures market on the CME that's been covered as well, so that might satisfy that particular gap. Yeah, so from here really, I don't think I can really go to the 1 hour chart. It's not going to help us much, so I'm just going to go to the tick chart. And we'll need to bring in some more data. Is that enough? Not quite enough. That will be plenty at that point. So look, it's going to be a bit difficult to sort of see, but I think it's good. Let's just open it up a little bit then. So wave 1 here and 2 here for this, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 down here for this, for wave 3, and then wave 4 here, and then I'm looking at all of this here just, you know, extending down as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and coming down for 5. That's how I've got it at this particular point in time. And it's really finding, you know, the support that we've had in the market here for a while, that you know, back over here yonder was the 46,500, which is minor group 2, so 65, 72 and 80. So it's really developing that support at that point. So yeah, I was sort of looking at this here. This counts up as 3 waves here, which is a little bit unusual, but maybe I'll need to go back in and check that again as well. But I had it as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for this, and then this and this. So that could be a little bit wrong there as well. But yeah, an A and a B and a C wave here, and then looking for further upside into that 61.8%, and then a move down at this point. Now, of course, we know the 61.8% is here, right, just below the 50. So you know, if the 50 here, let's just say that I got it wrong and this can be counted as an ABC down to this point, then if you were going to go long, then you would need to wait for the market to gain support on top of that 50. So you'd need like a little classic trading levels pattern in there to look to go long at that point. But you'd also want to be a little bit careful of the 78.6 as well before looking at that. So that's up here, which is good. That's up at 78.6, square root of 61.8%. So that's at 51. So having a classic trading levels pattern on the 50 would be a safer way to move forward at this particular point in time. Okay, so one of the things that we also need to do is that just to give this market time to let the dust settle a little bit. And if we do get this C wave here, we also need to make sure that it's on more of an angle than this wave A that's come down through here. So that will help confirm that it's a wave C and not a wave 3 going all the way down, because, you know, when we consider coming back to the daily chart here just for a moment, you know, is it possible to, still consider wave B up here as wave A here and wave B here? Well, I think so. I think that's possible, but I also think too, because it hasn't really delivered. I can get 5 waves up on this point here, as I mentioned on this 4-hour chart here. So we'll just go back to that for a second. I don't think we should just wipe it off just yet. So as wave 1 and 2 here, and wave 5 looks longer, but it's actually not longer than wave 3. So wave 3, 4 here, 1 can go to here, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So really that would leave, if we went back a bit, that means that wave 4 could be over here, and then we've got this, A wave here, B wave here, and C wave over here for a larger B wave over here. So I don't think we can wipe that off just yet. It could mean that we could end up in some, as Radic said, mentioned, that we could be in a larger triangle pattern within all of this as well. But there's other people that have mentioned the triangle pattern as well. Lara, who's a good Elliott Wave girl, she's also mentioned the triangle pattern as well. So yeah, look, I think it's good to gather all ideas and just continue with it. But we just need to be cautious. That's all. With Elliott Wave, sometimes we have answers and sometimes we don't. So this will all be part of the guessing game in a way. So all of this could be the A wave here, B wave here, and a C wave here for the flat correction. Or we could, this still does present a nice 5 waves down from the top. So I don't think that can be forgotten. But at the same time, we've seen altcoins make new highs or create double tops, and double tops are never the end of the trend. So we know that Bitcoin has still got further to go up. It's just how it's going to go up is the question. So, if I was really confident in a particular count, then I would put emphasis on that. But because I'm not, then I don't want to lead anybody astray either. So yeah, look, it's just a matter of picking up the pieces and work out what we can. And I don't think it's healthy to see things as right or wrong, but I also don't think it's healthy to be have a really strong opinion about something if you don't have the evidence to back it up. So I think that we just need to stay chilled out and we just start putting the pieces together a little bit. And when we first arrived up to this point here, this was exactly the pattern that we were expecting here. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to drop as fast as that, but having something of this nature, and I would only, after the classic trading levels pattern, I'd only be bullish if we had support back on the 50 here. So we have the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, the A, the B, and the C, and then we get support here. Then I know that's a long way from being here, or we could buy here and do all these sorts of things. But when you're looking at the bigger picture and you're getting support here, well, the next level's up. We've got well, 50 is the major level, and this whole correction really to me is about the 55 is the second strongest number, and to bounce off group 1 down the bottom here basically, and the medium level here, well, the next level's up here. If this decides to have a correction here and continue to get support on the 50 and move up, well, then we'll be definitely looking, the levels will be 65, 72 is a smaller one here, but we won't stop at 65. I mean, we will stop there and do, a little dance here, but double tops are not the end of the trend. So that means it will be up to 80, but because of this, the way that this is patterned out so far, we won't be stopping at 80. Will be the getting support on 50 sends the market to 100 because 1 is the strongest number, and getting support, this is kind of the halfway mark to the number 1 in a way. So getting support here, which is what this is actually doing here, and 5 is the second strongest number. So when it does have support here, we can look at 100. And as somebody mentioned that Bitcoin priced at 130, which is really the top of group 1. So when we look at 100, we go 1, 2, 3, which is all part of group 1 at that point, because the next medium level at that point is up at 150. So between the 100 here, the swing range for that is this group 1 above and the 80 below here, which we could take down to 72, which is basically the numbers that we've been using here as well. So the credit default swap market, where or the money is, it's got Bitcoin valued at 130, which I think is a nice next target to consider based on what finances are in the system at the moment. So yeah, getting support here really sets the target for this one up here. That's all I'm sort of saying. But how long will that take? Will we just get this ABC pattern here and sit on support and then go up? Or are we going to go into some, flat correction here and then go up at that point? I'm not quite sure, but either way, it's good at this point. So yeah, just another buying opportunity down here, that's all. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.